Welcome, all you knife lifers. I'm Greg. This is Josh.
What's up, guys?
And we have an SMKW Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive by MKM.
Yeah, it's a cool little knife.
Before we go too deep into that, like, subscribe, and ding that bell icon so you can be informed when we do cool things like exclusives.
Yeah.
And we have something really cool for you guys. And we here at the Clip Point, we enjoy Italian-made knives.
Yeah.
We like the style. And we have 3 here from MKM, which, right?
They're really snazzy and really unique knives.
Sorry, I want to say it right. Is it Maniago? I don't know. Knife makers, but MKM, basically they get together and make sure that the knife community gets a quality product, and this is from that organization.
Yep. This is the Izonzo, the MKM Isonzo.
Yes.
And they all have different, the colors are all different names, and we have each one of the blade shapes.
Yes, and the really cool thing about sort of what these companies from Italy are coming out with is kind of this lava look in these different colors, the blue, the green, the red, and these little kind of, they're not a carabiner, but they would be like carabiner capable. Little EDC knives or backpack knives, kind of a backup situation, but they're really small, handy EDC knives.
It's a cool design aspect, I think, especially for a handy knife like this. This is like a knife you can, it's almost like your backup knife.
Yeah.
But it comes in a drop point, a sheep's foot, and a hawk bill.
Yep. And they call that a clip point, but it feels kind of like a drop point, right?
Yeah, well,
but they call it the clip point, don't they?
That's a cleaver clip point.
Yeah, they call it the clip point, so there's no confusion. But really, it is, more of a drop. But look, you know what? It's kind of got a straight clip right there.
Yeah.
So
and
anyway,
it's M390. All these are M390.
Yeah, we'll call them. We shall deem them grayish.
But this pattern they have, which you'll see it when we, show you guys some footage, is it's really unique and really cool. It's a really cool look.
Yeah. And I guess
it's not like too much, it's not like crazy extreme. Like it's just enough where it's interesting, not cheesy.
Yeah. It's kind of like gentleman EDC.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not maybe it's office EDC. Right?
Yeah. Well, and it's probably Cali safe blades, right?
That's a good question. Let's see. Under 2 inches, isn't that? Right at 2? I don't know. I wouldn't say.
I would say this.
You got to know your local laws and what you can do.
Well, of course, but
it's a tiny blade.
I would assume it's Cali safe.
I would think so.
But obviously check for yourself.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into these dudes. Let's see how much they weigh. Man, these are some lightweight little guys.
Right under 3.
Right under 3, yeah, 2 3/4 ounces. Right. You've got the deep carry
clip
wire.
I think the sheep's foot probably weighs the most.
Yeah, let's take a look and see, because it's got maybe a chunkier grind. I mean, it's showing about the same. Then the venerable hawkbill. About the same. Yep.
Now, before we dive in, let's talk about these, because this one actually is a little bit more, this hawkbill, and it's got a little flipper tab, which the other two do not have flipper tabs.
Correct.
And this one has a better finish on the blade, I think.
Yeah, I mean, depending upon what you want, for around $130, you're going to be able to pick up these guys in the standard sort of stonewash finish, like you'd expect.
Yeah, it's kind of satiny.
Yep. M390, right? This one is green, this one is blue, and choose your blade shape. You've got the sheep's foot, which is classic. I like a sheep's foot, and it has jimping up here.
Yeah, that's nice.
That is interesting, right?
The hawk, they all do. They all have the jimping.
Yeah, and the hawk bill is a bit more expensive.
Yeah,
I think it's worth it.
I do as well. I think me personally, if I was buying one of these, I would go for this one.
Yeah. These are sweet little knives. I like how lightweight they are. I like how they have that...
Great cigar knife.
Yeah, sort of carbon fiber layered. I mean, I've never really seen anything like it until I saw them starting to come out of Italy. But yeah, they are really, really cool.
Yeah, they are neat little knives. I like the pocket clip too. I like how it's kind of the wire pocket clip, not like a solid piece.
Exactly.
I like this blade finish. Like this knife, I think is far superior to the other that we have here, but only in cool factor.
Yes.
The blade shape is very useful, but I like the dark stone wash, the kind of the acid edge there. I like the red.
Yeah, I would think.
And even they did the pocket clip. Like the pocket clip is even in that. The hardware is all that dark kind of acid etch look.
Agreed. I think that knife you're probably going to have a hard time finding at some point. Hop on it if you want it.
Hop on it if you want it.
Yeah, that's right. One of the really cool factors is like the colored hardware has that matte kind of depth to it. It's really nice. Even the collar has that. For taking pictures on Instagram, which follow us on Instagram at the Clip Point, we'll have pictures of these up. Taking pictures with these is really, really cool for those that are into the Instagram game. Detent is good.
So that
Lockup
green
is good.
It's called Jungle Wear carbon fiber.
Nice.
The blue is Arctic Storm carbon fiber, and the red is Lava Flow carbon fiber.
Yeah. What's nice about that blue too is it has, two different blues in it. Right? It's kind of got that darker blue and that light blue. Lots of little details. You kind of look at these and they're fun to have in the hand and to look at.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a knife that kind of looks gimmicky until you have it.
It's definitely not gimmicky.
No, it's not.
Right? It's M390. And you saw already cut paper with it. They come sharp from the factory, which, that's something I really like about Italian knives is that they come sharp from the factory. We've gotten some, grayish knives that weren't exactly sharp, and it's been kind of disappointing at times. So, every knife is designed to cut. That's the purpose of it. It should come sharp, and these little dudes are sharp. I really do like that.
Yeah,
that
this one is
that black stone wash.
And the flipper makes all the difference on this little knife. Greg has large hands. I have decently sized hands, and the flipper makes it much easier to open.
It does.
It's really kind of hard to flick these if you have larger hands.
Yeah.
It's possible. Maybe if you put a little wrist in it.
Yeah.
Like I'm having a hard time.
But the nice thing is that you can roll it because it does have a good low axis in your hand.
Yeah.
Right, so you can roll these open. And for those of you that like the smaller EDC knives, you already know about that, right?
Yeah.
This is no surprise to you. This is a small EDC.
You can spidey flick it. I'm sure after it breaks in a little bit, you can spidey flick it pretty easy.
And a cool conversation piece. You ever hand this off to somebody, they're going to think, man, that is a really sweet looking knife.
And MKM's not like a massively known brand.
Right.
At least in the States, when you think about Italian knives, MKM's really not the first that comes to mind for me. You're thinking about Lion Steel, maybe Giant Mouse, Ace. Those are kind of the ones that come to the top. Very seldom do I think of MKM, and I'm really shocked by these. They're great. Now these are SMKW exclusive, so if you want these colors, you got to go to Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
The riding on ball bearings, but the detent is nice. They're not floppy.
No, they're not.
That's another thing too. Is some of the more quality Chinese knives are almost floppy on their detents because they're like too polished. I guess you almost. I don't know if the mic. You hear that? That's the friction between the detent and the blade, and there needs to be some. Yep. There needs to be some because you don't want it falling over.
Yeah.
I like that. Now, some people really, really get off on sort of this doesn't weigh enough to do a detent drop.
See, I'm just not huge on that.
I don't really care about that. I like more the functionality of having resistance and having to close it rather than having it do a detent drop.
Yeah, only because a detent drop, now listen, let's throw a little jab out there. If you got a knife that does a detent drop, like there's some knives out there, but if you feel comfortable doing a detent drop with your knife, then it's not sharp enough.
Oh, that's a good point. I like, so with the one knife project, I do detent drops with that knife, but it's a forced, controlled drop. It never falls plainly over.
And I've got knives like Hinderer or like my ZT Hinderer, like all those knives will do a detent drop, no problem. So any heavier knife will. I just had to throw that out there because it's fitting.
Agreed.
If your knife
so this reminds
isn't scary
me,
sharp,
and this is a nice compliment. But I was like, this is such a familiar looking little knife. And on the Facebook page, I basically have only knife Facebook page. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like all my Facebook, my personal stuff, it's all like the knife pages I belong to. I don't subscribe to anyone, right? So I don't get involved in the drama. I just look at the knife stuff. And we had this morning a Medford Eris Bronze come up, and it is made very similarly to these little guys. And you can't find that in Medford. And I like the design of that tiny little
especially
thing.
This one. I think it looks the most.
It looks the most like that one. And so for those that are into the Medford world like we are, it's kind of neat to think about being able to get into a design. You know, those are probably $400 or $500 knives, I would imagine.
Or what about like the Heretic and Cosi? It's kind of the same ballpark.
Yeah.
A little bit more dramatic, but the Incosi's kind of a smaller EDC-esque knife, not crazy big. Pretty sure it's called the Incosi. But it's a knife I almost picked up. Has a really extreme looking design, similar to these. I think these are not as extreme as the Incosi was, but super cool. Did you find it?
No, it doesn't matter. I'm with you. But you look, and here's the thing. When you have so many knives, it's hard for me anyway to keep track of all of the different knives and names.
Right? Well, and there's knives that have come out, years ago that people still refer to that you can't even buy.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, especially in today's world where there's kind of a little bit of a steel shortage. Mm-hmm. Some knives are just hard to come by. They used to not be. Yep. Simple knives, like LUDTs, certain patterns, and, knives that should be common.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's dive into it. So Ergos.
So it's a small knife. So from a fit standpoint, I guess we have to color it a little bit, right? But Ergos are pretty good. They're pretty good
for a small knife.
Right?
They did what they could with the size.
Yes. And it's a Vox design. We didn't mention that. We love collab knives here, especially Josh. If it has a collab, he kind of instantly wants it. I don't blame him. I think they're cool too. And it's a Vox design, and he is known for giant mouse, of course, and kind of smaller knives that are ergonomic. And so this is sort of no exception to that.
Yeah.
It is ergonomic. So I would say that, given its size, the Ergos are really good, and the jimping is right here, right where you need it. So I'd probably give it about a 7 because it is small. It is small, but it is ergonomic, and it fits in the hand good.
For me, mine are just a little bit smaller than yours. Now, if I was holding it kind of like how you are there, I could see your thoughts. Mm-hmm. But they've given you a really generous choil, so if you move up just a little bit, it changes it.
On the sheep's foot.
Oh, that's a good point.
You see, we just discovered something. Look at that. Look how far back the jimping is here. There's no choil. The jimping is further back.
No, there's a choil on that one.
Yeah, a little bit.
But
and it is a little further up, too.
That
makes sense.
This is way more comfortable.
See, and that's the ethos of the design. I mean, people are going to pick up that knife for its particular use.
But that's so subtle. Most people wouldn't see that.
That's a good point. Which is why we do this. Which is why we have to handle them and do the Ergos.
So I would say,
review. See, in the flipper tab doesn't allow for a meat hook as much, right? But most people, even with that flipper tab, it's going to be fine for a choil.
Let me see that one.
See how it feels to you. Let me see that one without the flipper.
Yeah, this one's just as fine.
This is see, for me, that's perfect.
So
the flipper is what did it for me on that one.
Ergos for me, I'm going to say 8 out of 10 on these two. This one, I would go less. I'd probably say it was more like a 6, just because you don't have that choil.
That's a good point. Good point.
So, yeah.
I dig it.
8 out of 10.
Okay, cool.
That takes us into Tactical.
Can we give a 0?
They're not very tactical.
Is that an accurate number? Yeah, there's really nothing tactical about them, and you shouldn't feel like there is. Now this has a little pokiness, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is a knife at the end of the day.
It is a knife. You could stab with it, but it's probably, I guess, a 2 on tactical because it'll cut, it'll stab. The sheep's foot would be a 1. You know, you can't. I mean, you could. It would hurt to get stabbed, but you ain't stabbing.
You could hack.
I guess hack an elf or something. But yeah, no, these aren't tactical knives. So yeah, about a 2 because they'll cut you.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yep, exactly. Then that goes into EDC.
Yeah, they're pretty
EDCable. They're small,
and they're good enough size and a good enough action that I would feel comfortable carrying this as a backup in slot of a traditional knife. I think
for the average American guy out there who isn't wanting to carry, an intimidating knife on purpose, I think it has a lot of EDC to it. As far as the weight, the thing it's not light, No. It's under 3 ounces where it's not bug out level where it's super light because it does have that big chunky kind of carabiner and it's thick. But, nicer stuff that feels substantial in hand, it's not flexing, is going to weigh just a touch more. But I still think that is nice. I still think it's lightweight, but it's not flimsy.
It's a good office type knife. It's a good mixed company knife. Like I said, you could carry this on its own if you just need your bare bones knife to cut basic stuff. It's going to serve you just as well as a larger knife.
And it's not black with the sheep's foot, for instance, as an example. This is a utilitarian knife.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think that this could very well take the spot of a backup knife. This could be your traditional knife because, especially not this one necessarily, but these other two, they don't have flipper tabs. Most people are going to open them traditional. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's got a frame lock there, but or liner lock rather.
And the wire's going to be easy in and out of pocket. That's one of the nice things about a wire clip. It has good tension, but it slides in and out easy.
It's a non-abrasive knife.
Agreed. Non-abrasive, and it's cool. And from an EDC standpoint, if this sits on the back of your bag or something like that, you'll always have a knife on you. It kind of fits that modality as well. I don't know. There's a lot of EDC-ness here.
Yeah.
I'll probably give it a 9 out of 10 on EDC. Small, lightweight. You can throw it in your pocket, even if you're running and you grab it off the desk and you just chuck it in your pocket. It's heavy enough to sit down in your pocket too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you carry it like a slip joint if you wanted to.
That's kind of my thought.
Even remove the wire pocket clip for a slimmer profile.
Well.
I might even like it better without the pocket clip in some instances.
And the pocket clip is reversible, by the way.
Yeah, good point.
But you could throw this on keys. I wouldn't, but you could.
It's a little big, but you could.
But you could carabiner it to your bag. You could put a little tether on it so it doesn't get lost.
There's a lot you can do with this because of that design.
Well, this would be a great knife for somebody who likes to get out and do outdoor stuff, especially if you like to go out and kayak, because you could tether this to you.
Oh, it's a great point. It's a great point. That adds EDCable.
So because
there's so many scenarios it'll work, and you don't have to be concerned about losing it.
Right.
And can we just say thank you, Fox, for not making this a spring-loaded carabiner built into a knife? That's such a bad idea.
Yeah,
sure. Never, ever do that. If we want a carabiner on there, we can lash it, or we can just loop it. We'll make the carabiner action happen on our own. Hopefully you agree in the knife community. We've seen some high-end stuff out there, some good quality stuff with carabiners built in, and I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah, me neither.
If you are, comment below why you are, because I can't imagine why anybody would be.
9 out of 10 for me on EDC.
Yeah, good.
That takes us to cool factor.
Cool factor. So this one is a 9 out of 10, and these are a 7 out of 10.
That's exactly the number I was thinking.
So, it's as awkward as it is. The more expensive knife,
well, and honestly,
should have more cool factor, and it does.
Any of these knives with that same blade color would up the cool factor.
Well, that's a good point.
I don't really care for the satin.
But this would intimidate some of our office friends because of the color. I think. You know what I mean? Because it looks like it has intent behind it, even though it's a small version of intent. It's like, oh, I bet
I would like that in a larger size.
See, and it feels like that. It feels like, oh yeah, the big version of this would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
There you go, Vox. Make us a big one. I love the hawkbill. I love the stone wash on the black. The hardware is cool. It's all matte. Yeah, this is a super cool little knife.
Yeah.
Every little detail is perfect. I think it's gonna be timeless with that. I don't find this cheesy.
No.
I think it's gonna be cool for a long time.
Yeah, it's a very cool knife.
Yeah.
That's the one I would definitely pick if I was going to be buying one of these.
You know what I think? What I think they should do?
What's that?
I think they should buy all three.
Yeah, I mean, go for it.
Right?
Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
Buy all three. Shameless plug, Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
I think, if
but you could collect them all, and this is one of those. Now think about this. Think about the guys who buy 3, 4, 5 versions of a bug out, right?
Yeah.
Praetorians. You see those guys doing knife stacks on their Praetorians. This you could knife stack. I think for the Instagram guys, the pocket dump guys that are into
that.
But
if you love these, I would be getting this one first because that's going to be the one that's going to be the hardest to find.
Yes. Yeah, you need to jump on that because at some point, and it's not,
And honestly, I would get that blade shape beyond that one specifically.
It's not necessarily limited edition, but it's not exactly a high production knife like a bug out.
Right.
So
well, and honestly,
super cool.
I would have that blade shape over any of them beyond the looks. Now we're judging them based on what we have on the table.
I think we started really getting into this with Tor. That chasm. Don't you think that's the first knife that sort of said, "Wow, recurve and belly together really is."
And that's such an interesting look there. The way it's kind of like a.
And I like hawkbill. The hawkbill look is pretty.
It's cool, but it's almost like a severe hawkbill, but tiny and stubby.
Yep.
Like it's a very useful blade, and you might not think that like I'm probably not going to be slicing into a whole lot with that.
It's like show me that you're a man without telling me you're a man.
But
right?
Think about it.
Because it's not over the top, but it is very masculine.
Tape, cutting rope, cutting cigars.
At the cigar club, you whip this little guy out. It's subtle that you're not like trying to whip out a machete.
Yeah.
Which, that's the point. Subtlety. Subtlety is sometimes lost on our sort of Instagram, heavy YouTube, TikTok lifestyle where subtlety isn't the thing. It's all in your face and it's extreme. But, subtlety is it. And this is a subtle, very well executed, amazing design on this knife.
Yeah. So overall, I think that these knives are super cool.
Yes.
I think that. Oh, and by the way, my score for cool is just what you said.
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
And 7.
Yeah, 7. I think overall for these knives, though, as a whole, I think they're sitting around like a 7 out of 10.
I agree. 7. 100%.
If we were just reviewing this one, it'd probably be higher. It'd probably be around 8.
Well, that's true. That's true because of just the cool factor on all the elements on that little dude.
The cool factor and the blade shape. But they're
not they don't have any. They don't have any tactical either. So it kind of drops some of that. This is a purely small, lightweight EDC designer knife. They're super cool.
It's interesting because we technically have 3 knives here, all the same knife but different. And it's funny how blade shape and just materials really change.
And when I was at Smoky Mountain Knife Works and I was up in the office and they were like, "Hey, check this out. You like that? We saw your picture of your." I think it's my Fox knives with the sort of lava.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's a cool picture. So if you like that, check out what MKM's bringing out. And I said, great. You know what? Ship those to me and let me do a review. And so that's what they did.
Yeah. And shout out to TC, Isaac, and Greg.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, guys. I didn't even pick up on all the little tiny nuances like we've picked up here.
Look, check that out. Hang on.
Yeah, that one pulls it deep. But the the little nuances between them, and that's kind of why you need to do a review like this so that you pick them up. So in review of that, I think it's worth mentioning again, is you've got a flipper tab here, which gives you a nice hard stop. You have a very reasonable sized choil on the hawkbill, right?
Great place jimping.
Yep, and the jimping is appropriate for both, right? And then you've got, let's go into the sheep's foot, which I think has a larger sort of choil mechanism, so it works on a big hand well. And then you have the clip point, which doesn't really have that choilness to it. Right? But it's appropriate where they put the jimping because it's more...
Yeah, it's still a useful knife.
Well, because this is, you're going to plunge into things. If your cut style is to sort of plunge versus a cut style of wanting to drag, like this is a draw cut, right? So it just depends on what you're doing, because if you can only afford or only want to buy one, you need to buy the blade shape that works best for what you're using it for, right? And your style of cut.
And that's
I just love that Vox didn't put like the exact same knife, just a different blade shape. It's actually designed elements, which is part of the reason why we love collab knives, is because they were designed by someone who thought about all the little details.
But had input from somebody else, and they came up with a great knife.
Yeah, and the execution is going to be solid
nice because you can get the, if you think this knife is cool, you can get it in whatever you prefer it. Like you said, whatever blade shape works best for you. So
there you go.
Yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this review of the new MKM Isonzos, the SMKW exclusives. Again, huge shout out to them. Make sure you guys check them out. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, internet, whatever.
What's your favorite MKM? Do you have any SMKW exclusives? If so, comment below and let us know what you're rocking.
Or let us know which one of these would you guys pick up. Which one works for you. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one. Stay sharp.
Stay sharp.